Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, and welcome to What If Deku Was Nightmare Sans Part 0. This is going to be a second take. The first take I didn't like the story about near the ending. So, I'm also going to change and recon some stuff, so I was going to have it to where Deku can travel the multiverse of other villain and other hero Deku what ifs. So, if you want that, comment it down below, and I'll add it in here, but so far he's just going to be able to teleport and use the tentacles on his back, have really good regeneration, and pretty much immortality until you destroy every cell in his body. So, let's do this. As we're going to start off from the description of him, and we're going to start off from age 5. Because I went from birth to age 5, and then age 5 to about age 15, and I didn't like that idea. So, the look of Deku is he's going to have dark, and I mean dark green, and a purple fade to his hair, and his eyes are going to be a dark lavender purple. His brother is going to have golden hair with a white fade to it, and golden eyes. At the age of 5, at the age of 5 to the age of 13 to 14, Deku, his life has been miserable. He's been picked on by Bakugo and his Goonies. His brother has been, well, majorly famous, and he's been loved by his parents. Deku's been shunned as the mistake of the son by his parents, and his whole entire school hates him. And all he does is reads and draws and does what he usually does. Whenever he reaches the 3rd year of middle school, Bakugo and his Goonies take it a bit too far. They chase him all the way to his house. His parents are inside, and they notice that he comes home being chased by multiple kids. They don't want to interfere, but they have to go outside to see what's going on. As Deku's back is against a tree with apples on it, an apple falls down, hits him in the head, and he catches it. It turns black in his hands. His parents see this. They start running to him to grab the apple, but Bakugo and his Goonies rush at him faster. He bites the apple, unknowing what the apple might do to him, as his body starts coursing in pain. This black goo starts starts pouring out of his eye sockets. And mind this, they're human-like, so there's no skeletal features at all. His eyes are, one eye is pretty much gone, and this black liquid's coming out of his tentacles. Same are coming out of his mouth, and it's just pouring out of every pore of his liquid, or out of his body. He then gets covered in it as these black tentacles are coming out of his back. 4, 5, 6. And they all just start wrapping these bullies up around the neck. He even gets his parents. His brother is watching this, and his brother's quirk is called Dreamscape. He feeds off of positive emotions. The more positive emotions he gets stronger, and he's also able to manifest a weapon out of like a staff into like a bow. I'm going to say also a gun or a sword, and he can infuse these positive emotions into it, causing more damage. Deku was born quirkless in this, so he gets his powers from the apple. So, as he has his parents and these bullies by the throat with these tentacles coming out of his back, he starts choking them all as you just hear 5 snaps. Snap, 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 snap. As that were his parents and the 3 bullies. Bakugo's the only one alive. As he tries snapping Bakugo's neck, but he realizes that if he does that, he's going to be in more trouble than he thought he was. As his brother, he notices that his brother was watching. So he drops Bakugo, and he throws his parents and the bullies against the wall, leaving a giant crater and blood splatter all over it. He then looks at the tree and cuts it in half with the tentacles, grabbing all the apples and then the tree as well, so his brother can't have any, as he eats the other apples, just leaving nothing behind but just a stem, which can't really do anything for you, as he feels the power coursing through his body. Now Deku is able to feed off the fears and the negative emotions of the world, or multiverse, whichever one you guys decide. He also has tentacles that he can use, and I already explained his abilities ahead of time, so. Deku's one eye, his right eye is covered in the goo, a thick liquid of it. It is constantly dripping. His other eye is blinked out, but it's a dark cyan blue. As it starts shining brighter and brighter, as it's now a cyan blue. As he flares it up, and then he turns into a puddle of liquid, shooting up into the sky into a ball, and then just launching across Japan. His brother calling the authorities to help out these kids and his parents, as when they arrived, his parents were dead by a separated vertebrae of the neck, aka snap neck. As we cut back to Deku, Deku's still in the air as he lands down in an alleyway. As this girl with blonde hair and reptile-like eyes is sitting there on the floor, and she's terrified because these people are right above her. Deku shoots out his tentacles at the two thugs, grabbing him around the neck, lifting him up, as Deku walks over, reaching out his hand to help her up. This is Toga. Now, all other usual my what ifs, Toga is always the first one to be introduced. This is still the same, but I have a little twist. You'll like it. Deku then takes two more tentacles out of his back and stabs through the goons, leaving a giant hole in their chest, and then drops him to the floor. Girl gets up and runs over and hugs him, as she's kind of covered in the goo, but doesn't affect her. She lets go and thanks him, as he says it's no big deal. But why is she here all beaten up? And what's your name, girl? She would give her name. My name is Himiko Toga, and I was abandoned and beaten by my parents, almost killed, because of my villainous quirk, is what they think it is. Deku takes an interest in her, because she said villainous and quirk. So he asked her what it is, and she said her quirk is called copy. She can copy anyone's looks, voice, and I believe she can copy their quirks, if I believe right. And it also depends on how much blood she drinks. So, the more blood, the more amount of time she can do it. As she would give all this information to him, he would reach out his hand, pretty much asking her to take it, as she would, and he would wrap her in the tentacles, and they would both turn into a liquid and teleport somewhere. As we cut to this abandoned cabin, which is almost like a manor, but it's smaller. And he says, "Welcome to our base," or should I say, our hideout for our new group, our new crew. As he thought for a second and says, "Our new family." And he asks her to join him. She says yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. As he gives her her own room, and he made sure to leave a few knives in there, just for her. And over the next few months, Deku would constantly travel throughout Hosu City and other cities in Japan, and would recruit other people that have a reason to become villains. They just need that extra little push, such as Dobby, Twice, not Magnuma and not Splinter, that's his name, Splinter, but he does get Mr. Compress, and he does get a young boy around the same age as him with half red and half white hair, with a giant red scar under his red side. That's right, Shoto Todoroki is a villain. And he also comes across a poor girl with short brown hair as she gives her woes of her family being poor. But not only were they poor, they were murdered in front of her when she was little. So she's been living in an orphanage all this time, and she joins them as well. Ochako Uraraka is also a villain. Hell yeah. Deku would all invite them to his family of villains. They would all join, of course, not betraying him at all, and not ever thinking twice on him. Of course, the League of Villains is still there, but it's smaller. And it's only Shigaraki, Magma, Splinter, and Muscular that are in this group. And his brother's group, Dream, I'll just call him Dream until you guys give me a name. And his group is going to be Bakugo, him, Dream, of course, and I'm going to say Kirishima. Yeah, Kirishima. So, we have the good guy group, and we have the bad guy crew. During this time of the 10 months training till the UA entrance exam, they would be training their quirks. The villain crew getting their quirks boosted exponentially. Their quirks are about season 3 to season 4 level. So very, very strong. And his brother's group, Deku's brother's group, is about season 2 strength. So very considerably weak compared to everyone else. And during all this time, Deku and his brother would always fight. Bakugo and Kirishima joining in on the brawls, trying to defeat him, but end up being hurt very badly by Deku and his tentacles. Another part of the time, they're either knocked out and they're just very badly injured. As now, the Sludge Villain attack didn't happen because All Might caught him early. All Might found his successor, and it's Mirio. Because a guy that has the power to be able to manipulate, well, positivity into weapons that can essentially kill if they have to, I mean, that's very dangerous. And that's already strong. Because he just needs emotion to fuel him. And so, then we cut to about another few weeks after the entrance exam. Of course, Todoroki and Uraraka are spies for Deku's crew in UA. So he is very clever in this. I mean, he's essentially on the same scale as Nezu at this point. Maybe even smarter. I mean, if you have to do multiverse jumps, then you have to know the exact timeline, place, and time yeah, you're gonna be really smart. So, he's about 2 to 3 times smarter than Nezu, so he's always a step ahead. So he knows about the USJ, as when the USJ attack happens. Of course, the League of Villains group does happen, but this time Deku's group happens as well. And they appear in front of the League of Villains. Only Deku does, though. And he's in the middle of the students and the teachers and the League of Villains. As Deku was standing there, and he would look up at the heroes and the students as he would wave at them. And he would say, "Hello, brother. Hello, Bakugo, Katsuki." And he would turn around and he would see the villains and he would say, "Welcome, villains. Right now, you're all facing me." As they would all feel a chill down their spine, as they've never faced an opponent like him before. The villains would start rushing at him. Deku's brother would shout, "No, don't get close," as these 4 tentacles would appear out of Deku's back, stabbing into all the villains that got in a 5 to 10 foot radius of him. The students and the teachers seeing this are mortified. Shigaraki telling Kirigiri to get ready to warp him out of here, as he would command the Nomu to attack, jumping into telling the Nomu to kill Deku, or that black liquidy kid, as Shigaraki and Kirigiri would make their way back to the base, terrified at what they just witnessed a slaughter right in front of them. As the Nomu would run at Deku, Deku would send out 5 tentacles, one wrapping around each limb, his legs, arms, and then one right around the neck and the head. As he would just rip them all off, just leaving the torso to fall down on the floor, bleeding everywhere. As he would throw it all away except for the head, as he set the head in his hand, and he would look at his brother, and he would say, "Ah, brother, look at this," as he would toss the head right to the bottom of the stairs, and he would say, "This is because of your mistake, brother. You have epically failed this world as its protector. You're supposed to defend it. You can't even defend it from one measly man." As he would turn into a liquid and shoot up into the sky and then land right in front of everyone and turn into his human form again with the tentacles out. And he would just walk towards his brother, as his brother was standing in front of the teachers and the other students, as well as Bakugo and Kirishima. As the tentacles would shoot out, grabbing onto Kirishima, Bakugo, and his brother around the neck and bringing him close, as he brought his brother right down to his face, as he would look at him dead in the eyes and said, "You call yourself a hero. You couldn't even save me." As he throws him out the doors, shattering the walls and the doors behind him, leaving a giant dust cloud. He brings Kirishima and Bakugo right to his face. As he looks at Kirishima, Kirishima has sweat running down his face, as he's scared, he's terrified. As Deku looks at him dead in the eye, because he only has one eye. The other one's covered in goo. As he looks at him in the eyes and he says, "You're not. No. You're not a part of his old group, are you?" Kirishima asking what he means. Deku saying, "Never mind, they're all dead anyways. This measly weirdo over here, or this measly terrorist over here is the only one that's alive from him." As he would throw Kirishima out the same exact spot where he threw his brother. As he brought Bakugo right to his face, as he looked him in the eye, and he would say, "Katsuki Bakugo, the man that caused me to become what I am today. The man that caused me to become the villain and the monster they see before you. Now what do you have to say for yourself, Katsuki Bakugo, or should I say, the man that pushed me over the ledge to become this creature?" as he would take a tiny tentacle, stabbing it into both of his legs, leaving a tiny hole in his legs, causing blood to drip down. As he throws him out the door's same spot, Mr. Aizawa shoots out his scarf, trying to grab onto him as it just shoots through him, and it just leaves a little cut in his body as it just repairs itself. Then he tries using his quirk cancellation on Deku, as it doesn't work. As Deku essentially just takes a small tentacle, just stabs it into his body where there's no essential organs, leaving a hole as he just drops to the floor bleeding. As he tips a invisible little hat and takes a little bow, and he says, "I'll be taking my leave, UA students. See you next time. Katsuki Bakugo, my brother, and the guy with the red hair, Kirishima," as he turns into a liquid and shoots up into the sky, disappearing from everyone's sight. He lands out in the street behind the USJ, and he just teleports back to the cabin, as all the others asked how it went, as they still do see the blood dripping down from his tentacles, and he just drips the blood into a little vial, individual vials for Toga to have, with different villains and different people's blood. She thanked him and then just walked away, while skipping away to her room. And this is where I'm going to leave it off of part 0. USJ attack happened. Uraraka, Todoroki, Toga, Dabi, Mr. Compress, twice. And that's it, I believe. All have joined Deku's group. So the questions I have for you guys is, who's the ship? Or should there be a ship? Second question, should he have multiverse travel? And third, what Deku should he bring from another multiverse to join him in his group? Well, that's where I'm going to leave it off. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next video. Peace.